Hey everybody, Randy Patterson here with Boomerocity, and unfortunately, this was not a total joyous occasion. Um, I'm dusting off an interview I did 5 years ago with the legendary Jeannie Seely, country music star, um, been in country music for decades, and she passed away on August 1st, and as I record this, it's August 4th. And I thought I would dust off and re-edit the video from the interview I did with her 5 years ago. Um, I'll tell you right up front, my side of the conversation is terrible. I'm not ashamed to admit it, and it is not false humility. You can watch it for yourself and see that my lighting's bad, the camera angle's terrible. I'm kind of fidgety. But in my defense, it was right when I first started doing Zoom calls, and I was trying to get my 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 equilibrium with it. So please, if you can, try to overlook that part of it. I cut me out as often as possible so I don't put you through too much pain there. But the reason why I wanted to show it to you guys is for you to be able to see what an incredibly classy lady Jeannie was. And so gracious, fun to talk to. I regret that I didn't get to talk to her any more than the one time. But it was a great loss to the country music community, to Nashville, and really to the world because she had such a tremendous impact on the world of anybody who had the privilege of listening to her. She was on Sirius XM radio, uh, highly respected among her peers, great charity work, the whole nine yards. So I just thought I'd share it with you so that if you weren't already a Jeannie Seely fan, and I'd be surprised if you're not, I think that you would really enjoy this interview and hopefully it puts a smile on your face, even in this time of losing her. If you don't mind, would you go ahead and hit like and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber? Doesn't cost anything. It just helps Boomerocity out a lot. And please share this with other Jeannie Seely fans or country music fans. Without any further ado, here is my one and only interview with the late, great Jeannie Seely. Until next time, this is Randy Patterson with Boomerocity. Take care.
You know. Hello there.
Hello.
Look at you with that fancy background.
Hey, this cost me a ton of money running all over East Tennessee to find these album covers.
Let me put Jeannie in the picture and me get off of here a second.
All righty.
All right.
Well, I'm impressed.
Well, good. I like to impress the ladies, you know.
I'll bet you do. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great, Jeannie. I want to first of all thank Bev for putting this together, but gosh, what an honor and a thrill it is for me to be able to talk to you. You know, it's just
well.
I mean, not to throw age on either one of us, but I've been hearing you off and on over the years on car radios and home stereos for ever since my parents turned me on to music. So
all right, well, that's a good thing. We're still here, still loving what we do.
Well, that's
and loving that you give us some time to do it.
Well, I'm glad to be able to do it, but trust me, the thrill's all mine, and I'm looking forward to talking to you today. So before we start talking about your album, I was just curious, how has this pandemic affected you and your family, if at all?
Well, we, of course, are doing like so many people, and of our age, we have to be even more cautious, really. But we have not stopped living. We try to go to environments where we're going to be safe and avoid those that we aren't. Wear my mask, wash my hands. And I tell you, the pandemic has taught me some things too. I said, I never thought about the pump handle when I was pumping my gas. How many people? I'm like, no wonder I got so many stomach viruses and everything else. So I think in the years going forward, I'm probably gonna stay well a little more because of the extra precautions we're taking that truthfully we should have all been doing all along. So,
Well, I am right there with you. I have to admit, I was a slight germaphobe before all of this. I did start using paper towels when I would pump gas or, use my sleeved arm to open a public door of some sort.
oh,
But
I've
gosh,
done that.
but
Yeah.
even just like, pouring myself coffee out of one of those dispensers or touching salt shakers during, if nothing else going forward during cold and flu season, being a little bit more cautious because,
Right. On the other side, the upside of that salt shaker, we all use too much salt anyway. So
there you go.
oh, one more reason why we're staying healthier.
That's
So,
right. I agree with you. Well, has this pandemic affected how you're doing music now? And obviously, performances have been affected a little bit, well, quite a bit. But I noticed some things are beginning to come back on stage slowly but surely. But how's it affected you on that front?
well, actually, it's played in my favor in a way because not being able to do all the traveling and the appearances, even at the Opry, it has given me more time to promote this album and to be making plans for other things that I want to do, including my shows when we do start traveling again.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it's also given me a little break that at this age to realize, there's a pretty good lifestyle without working all the time.
Well, I hear you. So I'm in and out of Nashville a lot. I was there, gosh, I guess about 2 weeks ago, and I was noticing, it's a little bit different. I live here permanently in Sevierville, and you're going to be here, I think, next week at
Right.
the theater there. So I hope to maybe catch your show Friday night. But
I hope so.
but when I was in Nashville a couple weekends ago, I was just noticing just the vibe has changed a lot. And from where I sit, going into stores, I was dropping into a Target there. I guess it would be kind of Southwest Nashville, over near Sylvan Park in that area. But just how, everybody was just almost scared to look at each other, it seemed like, compared to
I
here
know.
where, we're still going around saying, hey, y'all, that type of thing. So,
Yeah.
so
We've had a lot of pressure. We've had a lot of pressure here in Davidson County, especially because we've had some major outbreaks. And of course, a lot of it was from the prisons in that area, but it all counted into.
Yeah.
So we've been held down a little bit more than the outlying areas, I think.
Yeah. One more question on that before we get into your album. What do you, from your perspective, I know you tour a little bit differently than maybe some of your peers or some of the newer stars and such, because everything seems to be different now. But do you see a change in how the music business is going to run and how touring is going to go going forward? I'll tell you, a couple months ago, I interviewed Felix Cavallari from the Rascals and Young Rascals. And he was telling me, he goes, man, this changes how I do meet and greets, the VIP things and all that kind of deal. And,
right.
I wasn't even thinking of that because that's part of my fun in doing this is being able to get backstage and meeting with you all. But yeah, it's different because, I haven't been sick. I don't think I'm a carrier. But, if I was going to meet you, I would have to think, all right, what precautions do I need to make if I'm going to be within, arm's reach of you or something? So do you see those kind of changes coming up?
I do. In fact, in our show coming up in Pigeon Forge, I'm in the process right now of pre-signing, pre-autographing albums and photos because I won't be able to do the meet and greet because not only for myself, but out of concern for my husband. If I get sick, he's going to get sick. And
Right.
we don't do that anymore. And I think that I agree with you, as like you, our fans, that's part of our draw of public appearances is being able to interact. And as an artist, I miss that too. I love the interaction with the fans. You can't know what to do to please fans if you never get an opportunity to hear from them.
That's right.
And hear what they have to say and how they react. So yeah, it's going to be different, but just like I'm trying to keep me safe, I don't think I'm a carrier either, but nothing would make me feel worse than to pass on something to one of my fans that's a little older and been with me all through these years. So it is definitely a different look. I'm probably not going to be, definitely not touring per se. I will still do some shows, but they will be handpicked and things that I really want to do, because to be honest with you, I've been there and done that. And I think now my time better served uh, just staying home and probably being at the Opry as much as possible.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Well, we want you around for a long time, so anything that'll help make that happen, I'm all for as a fan. So, um,
Thank you.
by the way, I just recalled too, I just read to this morning, in fact, I think I got the blast from Bev I'm on her distribution list that you're going to be receiving the Legacy Award. Gosh, but were you going to have room putting anything up? Putting things
From
up? I mean,
the,
you got to clear some space off the mantle or something, I would imagine, huh?
from the Frank Clement organization, that all of it benefits the Frank Clement Museum, which is a wonderful museum. It's, if anybody gets to Nashville or out as far as Dixon, go on one corner is Craig Morgan's wonderful store. You can go visit that, and also go across the railroad tracks to the Frank Clement Museum. I'm very honored to be sharing that stage this year with Lamar Alexander and also with Craig Morgan.
Yeah.
But we are very proud of that museum, and of course, very proud of Frank Clement's legacy.
Well, congratulations on the award, and I just think that you're worthy of all the awards that can be given to someone who has contributed to everybody's happiness musically as you have. I can't say that enough and can't back that enough. It's
Well, thank you.
it's
Thank
part of
you
the
for
reason
that.
why I do what I do. But about your album, gosh, what a great album to be listening to. Tell me a story about it, as far as what led you to doing this collection, and how it
Well,
came together, things like that.
my producer, Don Cusick, who is a very well-known music professor at Belmont and also a very well-known and respected historian in country music, Don approached me one night out at the Opry and just said he would like to do a project with me and kind of uh, talk about my journey and this business. And I said, my journey's that interesting? He said, the path you've taken is very different and unusual. And his concept was to have guests on and people that, and that sometimes they wouldn't expect that combination, and to do songs that people wouldn't really expect me to do.
Right.
And he said, I just see so many sides to Jeannie Seely, and I don't think they have been displayed for other people to see that well. So that was the inspiration of where the idea came from. Of course, I'm very grateful to Mike Curb and the folks at Curb Records for picking up this project, and they've been wonderful.
What I know from that body of work, I say this to artists all the time, that picking a favorite song is tantamount to picking a favorite child, and we're just not supposed to do that. So, but so what I've done to diplomatically get around that is to ask artists, and I'll ask you the same question: which song from this collection would you point to as a calling card? If I were to get a millennial to sit still long enough to turn them on to your work and to this collection, which song do you think should be used as a calling card to
Oh,
turn
now
them
you've
on to the rest of the album?
tried to put me on that spot, haven't you?
I'm trying.
Well, like you said, it really is hard to choose. And the thing is, by Don's concept of so many different directions, I think that was one of his objectives, to show somebody new, not familiar with me, all of the different sides. And to me, as an artist, speaking to young artists coming up, my thing would be to say, don't let anybody else put you in a box, and don't put any limitations on yourself. I mean, we like to categorize things as country or country pop or whatever. Just do good music and it will find its own level.
You know, it's funny you say that because, and I wasn't expecting this, but yesterday I had an interview with a blues guitarist and singer, Jimmy Vaughn. He was Stevie Ray Vaughan's brother.
Mhm.
And, you know, he said essentially the same thing. And it, you know, it never dawned on me until he and I were, well, it came out in the press release and I asked him about it. But he's saying, you know, there's really no difference between blues and country and Western. He said, or country. And he said,
Mhm.
I'm tired of these labels. You know, he goes, it's music, it's America's music. Let's just play it and enjoy it, you know,
Exactly. You
and
know, and adding to that, you know, to me personally, I know it depends on the mood I'm in, what I want to hear,
yeah,
and you know, and I have a lot of different moods, you know. But also speaking of how a song can be done in many directions, a song I wrote back in 1964 was an immediate hit by R&B legend Irma Thomas,
mhm,
called Anyone Who Knows What Love Is Will Understand. Well, it laid around for years, nobody thought of it. All of a sudden it's showing up in movies and TV shows. And I mean, people like international artist Seal just recorded it for an album,
wow.
and it's been played in 5 episodes of a TV series out of London, and which, I mean, it just is reaching all kinds of people. So truly music will find its level, and you really have no control of it. You can call it whatever you want to,
Yeah.
but it's gonna stand on its own. And I think that's just one of the great gifts that music is to all of us. Put it where it belongs, in our heart.
Well, that's the reason why I like the old, how radio stations used to be. And that's where you could, you know, I grew up in Phoenix, was born here in East Tennessee, but grew up in
Mhm.
Phoenix, and radio stations there, you turn it on and it would be a popular station. But you know, you might hear a country artist first, and then you'd hear, you know, the Rolling Stones next, and then, you know, somebody a
Mhm.
little bit harder, or maybe a little bit of R&B and all that. And I mean, I think that's the consciousness of America, or at least our generations, you
I
know.
think I agree with you too. And you know, even though the radio stations don't do that, I like to point out to everybody, this is one of the wonderful things about the internet. We can hear anything we want, any time of day or night, from any era.
Mhm.
And hopefully some of the folks that might be thinking about coming out to see the show with Tim Atwood and me, um, we will do a little bit of everything on that show. From the one of the things I did on the album and we do on the show is an old pop classic from the 50s called Teach Me Tonight. It was a big hit by the DeCastro sisters earlier, and then later the McGuire sisters. So from that to Tim is doing some very powerful patriotic things. We do a version of some of the duets that Kenny and Dottie did,
Mm.
and just a little bit of everything. But overall, beside the music, what Tim and I do is we have fun, and we're going to try to make sure anybody who comes to see us has a good time too.
I'm sure we will. Well, one thing I want to compliment you on is how you adapt to the technology, or let me put it the other way, how you use technology and and all of its newest forms to stay out there and to stay relevant. I mean, the fact that we're doing this call is a great example of it, and also the fact that you're on satellite radio on Willie's channel. I mean, wow. I mean, that probably is opening you up to a whole bunch of people that maybe had not heard of you before, but have an appreciation for the kind of music you sing. And so my hat's off to you for staying current on that, because not everybody does. I know my generation doesn't. You know, trying to get somebody to have a Zoom call these days is sometimes like pulling teeth. So,
Well, I have to credit my publicist, Bev Moser, for a lot of that. Some of it, she's kind of dragging me screaming and kicking into it. But I love all the technology. And there again, what a gift we have been given.
yeah,
And the Willie's Roadhouse was something I never expected to do when they called me and asked me if I'd be interested in doing an air personality shift. And I'm like, yeah, I never thought of it, but boy, I'd like to try. And it's just a wonderful gift. It's just, and it's fun. It's
yeah,
fun, and it's fun to hear back from people all over the world. I'm like you said, I'm reaching a whole lot of people that didn't know. Between Willie's Roadhouse and the Opry being on satellite now,
yeah.
it's just I'm meeting a whole bunch of new people, so it's wonderful.
If you have time, I have a couple more questions. Do we have time for that?
I think we're good.
Okay,
Mhm.
good. What are the, I mean, it's kind of along the lines of what we were just talking about, but what do you feel are the best and least favorite, I hate to say worst, but let's just go ahead and go there. Best and worst changes you've seen in the music industry and as a whole, and maybe perhaps more specifically in the area of country music. And I know sometimes that can be a little delicate, but uh, what have you seen from where you said the best and worst of changes in that?
Well, I don't look at either side as the best or the worst. Change is inevitable. It's
Mhm.
always going to come in our lives. And there's always going to be good sides to the changes and bad sides. I don't care whether it's music or what you're talking about. But we have to, most of the complaints I hear are from people from my generation. And the bad part of that is that they aren't happy with the changes. But I have to remind myself and them, it is not our era anymore. That's hard to admit, but it's absolutely true. We had our time, we did with it what we brought from our generation, and now it's time to pass that on. And we may not like it. And I know there were some when I came in said, well, she's really not Opry material. She's really not that country. So it's always going to be there. And like the criticism of the Opry, I always say, when you hear criticism, what that tells me is how revered the Opry was.
Yeah,
When you love something so much, like our traditional music or the Grand Ole Opry, you're afraid of any change that might destroy it. So that just lets me know how loved it was to begin with. On the good side of that, I remind everybody again, if they haven't ventured into this technology, do so, because you can find anything you want to see or hear. There's so much on YouTube. I mean, some of the old videos of me, I'm a little embarrassed about right now.
you shouldn't be.
Not only for me, but some of my peers too. We did have some hairdos in our time. But anyway, that to me, if you have to pick a good side and a bad side, those are the sides I look at. But I also would encourage people to give a second chance to some of the new music coming out. There are a few, I'm especially partial to some of the new young ladies that are coming up, and they are writing some incredible songs.
Yes, they are.
If you've not heard a song by Tennille Townes, Somebody's Daughter, play that and listen to those words. I mean, it's just amazing. And
Right.
also Ingrid Andress had a wonderful song called You're Breaking, if you leave me, you're breaking more hearts than mine, because it's the story about she's taken him home to meet her family, and they have all fallen in love with him.
Yeah.
And she said, so if you leave, you're breaking more hearts than mine. That's a strong, strong piece of material. So I really encourage everybody to give some of this music a second listen.
Definitely will. They'll get encouraged to do that through this interview. And so my final question for you is, and I hope to interview you a lot more in the future. So maybe every other time we talk, I'll ask if you have an update on the answer to this question. And I ask
Okay.
it of a lot of artists, and I quite frankly, sometimes I'm surprised that people haven't given it a thought. And I don't know why that is, but I think we all kind of think of our own mortality from time to time, and especially during these days when we've lost so many people to
Mhm.
the virus or attributed to the virus. And that's this, once you're up at the great gig in the sky, stepping off the tour bus of life up there, how do you want to be remembered, and what do you hope your legacy is? I know you've been asked this a lot, but today, how does Jeannie Seely want to answer that today after everything that you've experienced so far?
I hope they'll remember me that I was a fun person, a giving person. Most of all, I want to be remembered. I want them to smile when they think of me.
Good deal. Well, man, this is a lot of fun. I'm smiling. This is a lot of fun. You've allowed me to check off one of my bucket list items, but I hope there's a lot more with your name beside it for in the future. So let's make sure we stay in touch. My door here is always open to you, so Bev can get hold of me and say, hey, we need some help on this, and I'll be more than glad to do that. But again, my door is always open to you, and maybe I can meet you someday in person, even at social distancing, bump elbows or something. And
well, please come and see us on the 23rd. We'll make that happen. I appreciate you giving me some of your time as well.
Well,
Everybody's time is important, so we're very appreciative. Thank you so
pleasure's
much.
all mine, and I'll make plans to catch you next week. I appreciate that.
Okay, great.
All right, take care.
This has been another fun-filled episode of Boomerocity with your host and producer, Randy Patterson. The theme song is Roll the Dice and is recorded and used by permission from Quentin Hope. Quentin is spelled Quinten, and Hope is Hope. And you can find out more about Quentin at quentinhope.com. Post-production is done by Cardinal Sins Productions. The Boomerocity name, logo, and content is copyright protected. Segments may only be used with written permission by Boomerocity and/or its assignees. Inquiry should be directed to input@boomerocity.com. Copyright 2025.